Tell me about the miraculous thing in this community.
Well, they pull together. Doesn't matter what the situation is. We come together and we get it done. We handle it. At one point, we had 540 people here at the Keeler Center, sheltering from the cold and the weather. And they've all been fed. They're warm. It isn't the Hyatt, mind you, but much, much appreciated. And there have been so many stories and trips interrupted and international flights canceled and so on. I'm just happy that we were able to shelter people, rise to the occasion. Unbelievable team of volunteers show up, just start cooking, presenting, delivering, digging ways through, finding ways to get things done. Now we have the Red Cross here, and they've set up an emergency overnight situation so people have cots in our 6 dressing rooms. They can spend the night until they sort out. We had 5, at one point 6 busloads of people here, all on their way to Metro Toronto and beyond, and they were high and dry. And then, of course, we were getting all the people who have been involved in car crashes or abandoned vehicles or stuck. Most of the people that we had were on the buses, and the buses have departed. I hope they make it through. And so now we're dealing with the aftermath, how to get the vehicles out of the ditches, how to make alternate arrangements for them to travel, and we'll sort that through. We have to do the nitty-gritty work now.
I cannot say enough about this community and what it does.
This community is phenomenal, and that's what I've always said about Grammy. Do not ever underestimate us, because we're going to come and we're going to get you and we're going to keep you safe, and we're going to do it our way, and it will be the right way.
Could you ever see that there was this many coming in, or did it surprise you? Did it shock you, or did it, with that many people coming here?
Of course it did. Of course it did. At one point, you know, when
so this little guy can run around. Is that okay?
Of course it surprised us. We were talking earlier in the day on Friday, you know, the day got worse and worse, and then we thought, well, do we open an emergency center or whatever, or a drop-off point? And in the meantime, I was getting calls from Colborne, from people who were getting fairly gnarly about transition house and so on. And I had to keep saying, look, we've got hundreds of people out here stranded. You need to approach your own municipality and deal with the situation there. This is an emergency. We can work out all these logistics and have an aftermath, talk about how we approach things, how we plan, what we can do better next time. But when we're in an emergency situation, you have to deal with what is here now and how we can best meet the challenges.
When I see a paramedic bringing in a bag of, I think, dog food, and when I hear him ask if people have enough medication because the pharmacy's staying open for an extra hour, it never ends.
It never ends. It never ends. We have people, you know, offering diapers and meds, personal hygiene products, whatever. We've had people coming down here and saying, I want to take people home. You come to my house, especially with infants. We had 2 really young infants here, and I'm telling you, your heart just goes out. It just, and they're all so calm and lovely, these people. They're just, thank you, thank you. And I'm thinking, my goodness, if that were me, I'd probably be throwing a hissy fit and carrying on. No, it was very zen, quite wonderful.
They, not only the firefighters, paramedics, police, tow operators, plow operators,
business owners.
Business owners. The person that I talked to said that she was rescued by firefighters in a ATV with tracks on it. I don't know. I'm not that. But yeah. I mean, and that was at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
But it's just one of those things again where it's this could, and we're not out of the woods yet, but this is a very serious storm.
It was a serious storm. It is and continues to be. And I think what we're doing is getting the measure of what we're facing in terms of climate change. This is what we have to now start to expect. There are more extremes. You can, say
Twist it, turn it any way you want.
yeah, but this is what we have to deal with. If a tornado lands, a tornado lands. We can no longer discuss what if. We're living some of this. And is it happening every weekend? No, I hope. Please, please. But here we are. We're dealing with it. So we have to be ready for these extremes.
Last question. Did you ever think that you'd be spending Christmas Eve at the Keeler Center with a lot of strangers?
Well, they're not strangers now, I'll tell you. It's not every Christmas you spend Christmas Eve night with 540 people. It's a little crowded in the bed, shall we say.
How long you been stuck here for?
Well, we've been here since 5:30 this morning. We got picked up. We left Toronto at 2 o'clock yesterday, and we were stuck in a ditch for 3 hours around 5 till about 8. We got towed out, and then we ended up in the ditch again, and we ended up staying in the ditch till 5 a.m. 2 police cruisers and the tow truck came and got us out. We came here.
How's
this
it been?
This place is awesome.
How are the people?
People here are great. They're fantastic. I just want to thank them all because of what they did for everybody. They had a lot of people here, put up with a lot of stuff, but everybody was nice, and we do appreciate the little town here.
Where are you coming from, going to?
We're going to Toronto, from Toronto to Ottawa. So there's 10 of us in a van, and they're all waiting for me now. So.
The last question is, did you ever think you'd be spending Christmas Eve here, and it kind of choked you up even talking about it?
It just happened. It's one of those things.
Canadiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. No, that's
Okay.
great. Is that how it started?
On the accident? Or?
Yeah, is that how you got, how did you get here?
we got into an accident. I guess it's
Was
few
that the big
kilometers
one?
from here. It was a big car pile up. The tow truck driver said it was 20 vehicles were towed. And there was an accident ahead of us. We slowed down, pulled over to the side. Somebody banged into us from the rear. And so it's enough damage on the rear wheel of the driver's side.
Yep.
That we could drive a short distance, but not very far, so we needed a tow truck. And we had to wait for a few hours, 3 hours, I guess. Got a tow truck here, and the people have been very welcoming, unbelievably welcoming. So it's something we'll always remember.
Did you ever think you'd be spending Christmas Eve here?
No. And we are blessed to actually, if we're going to have an accident near this town, was really opportune time to meet some good people. We've talked to a few already. One person has already offered to take us in, and we just didn't feel like we should impose on them in that personal way we can manage. And another lady has offered to drive us possibly to Belleville, where there's more hotels, because there's not very much in this area. And the food is good, and all of the people that work here are extremely friendly. Even the tow truck driver was very cooperative, explaining everything, what we have to do. So I really wish to thank everybody.
What was it like on the 401? Was it that bad?
When we were driving...
Forgive me, where are you coming from?
We came from Toronto. We were going to Ottawa. In Toronto, the roads were good. They actually, as we were leaving, they were declaring the storm warning over. And as we drove, I thought, gee, this is not bad. I knew it was going to get worse around Kingston, but when we'd read the weather reports very early in the morning, it said very little snow, and the blizzard warning was going to taper off in early afternoon. So I thought, okay, if things start getting bad on the road, we'll pull over, wait for a bit later in the afternoon, and then carry on. And just because of the low snowfall predicted, I took a chance, which was a foolish thing to do. But
like you say, with the low snowfall.
yeah, well, it turned out after the accident, as we were waiting for the tow truck, the storm conditions just got worse and worse. The whiteouts were really extreme. So if it would have started getting that bad while we were driving, we would have just turned off into some place, got a hotel for a night at least. But it sort of came on us early with that accident. We stopped okay, but there was a bit of ice on the road, so somebody from behind hit us.
I don't think there was any major injuries at that, from what I heard.
There was a.
Yeah, they're like I know the paramedics and that, but I mean, like I don't
think anybody
major,
serious.
That's right. So it's lucky for that too, because it was 20. From what I heard, it was 20 to 40 car pileup. So
yeah, like it was. The tow truck driver said 20 cars towed.
Yeah. So.
And yeah, we didn't see anybody that was any distress health-wise.
But the police were very quick. They were there within 10 minutes.
Good. Yeah. Good. So I guess last thing, is it safe to say you've met a lot of new friends here?
Yeah. Oh yes, it's really unbelievable the outpouring of generosity of the people of this community.
Tell me, Terry, when did you get called to this, and how did they explain how it started and where it's gone from there?
Yeah, early afternoon, what we heard is that there were quite a few buses that were affected, and the passengers were stranded here, close to Colborne area. Parts of the 401 that had been closed, so we had a lot of people were being detoured here. And there were quite a few accidents as well, and we heard of a pileup. We didn't get a lot of details. So when we arrived, we saw that the entire facility was very, very filled with people. I went and spoke with all the drivers from the various buses and found out where they're coming from, where they're going to, their routes and information. And what we found out is that they were in the process of getting cleared for continuation of the route. So those buses, once we found out where they're coming from, where they're going, if they're express or going through directly, then we were able to give them updates to everybody who was in here. So they were coming from Montreal. Most of them were heading to either Scarborough or Union Station, some were express. And we just had to ensure that people got on the right buses because they had their luggage and didn't want to get separated from that. And we got them pretty organized and queued up rapidly. So they were on the buses, and they managed to get out of here as soon as they were ready to go, and they got the approval from their bus companies.
Fair number of people still here, even without the buses, just people stranded. And I guess going into the night, they might be spending Christmas Eve here.
It's a possibility. What we have here with the people who are here is primarily those people who've been from the pileup and from accidents and cars gone off the road. So many of them are waiting for tow trucks, and we're hearing various stories where some of them are just simply not able to get the tow trucks to come to this area in a rapid time, and others simply can't afford it. One family had informed us that they were quoted from one of the tow truck companies, local companies, that it was $350 to give them a bump onto the road because they were just off the side of the road, and they said we can't afford $350 to get back on the road. So those are some of the challenges that they're facing. The families that have small children have, for the most part, found accommodations, and we're really so happy that we had some local people here stepped up and offered their homes for people to go and stay with them overnight and to see if they could help them to coordinate. The rest of the people who are here, we're speaking with all of them. We have some safety and well-being responders who are here with our team as well. And now we have John's come down from Peterborough with the Red Cross, and he's helping out and brought some people with him. We've gone around and spoke to all the families who are here pretty much. We're getting to any others we haven't yet, and we're ensuring that we're able to provide them with blankets and pillows, and all the children. We get them a little teddy bear to help them with their situation. And it's a little bit cool downstairs, so what we're thinking of doing is bringing our cots upstairs, and we may be setting up some beds here. And now locally we've heard there's some other areas as well where it's quite cold without power, and Lakeport, perhaps it may not have power overnight, so we may be seeing some people coming locally just from Lakeport, which is just around the corner. And if they do, we will have lots of cots for them. We have lots of beds, lots of food, plenty of volunteers here. We have all the response team is here. We've got, of course, we have our paramedics. We have OPP have been here, we have our police, and we have our firefighters, which have been tremendous help in so many things, in coordinating and bringing our supplies here and helping us to bring them in and load them up. So all together with the team that's working here and the volunteers, the staff volunteers, and all the emergency response that's shown up, we've got a really good handle on this. We do have a couple other sites that we're looking after, and I'm just heading up to Brighton right now, where I'm going to be opening up a new Red Cross response up there. So I'm going to be heading there next.